Okay, let's go. Let's test out the stream. Make sure it's working good. Testing, testing. Hello. Testing, testing. Hello. Perfect. All right. Welcome to another live stream, New York session. We'll be doing analysis and looking for trade ideas. I'm your host, Trade with Tayyib, and let's dive in. So right off the bat, looking at the charts, we're dropping a little bit on the crypto. So I know some of the people are trying to enter yesterday because it was breaking the highs, but I had a conversation with one of my friends that it's breaking the highs, but there is no lower wick on the weekly. So I would wait for the lower wick to be created, and I think that is happening now. I would still wait for Doge to be around 22,130. Let's just say 2200, and that would be an ideal buy for me to go in and just hold it long term. Let's do some fresh analysis on gold and see where we are. Let's take a look on daily. Oh Lord. So yesterday's video, I talked about I talked about gold analysis and where we should be looking for buying or selling opportunities, and if it broke the previous day's wick, then we're expected to head down all the way at the bottom of the range, um, and that is what's happening. That's T. Okay. So on daily time frame, we're just broken down. Let's take a look at 4 hours. 4 hour, we have a wick here. Let's see. So anytime there's a wick, that means that in the lower time frame, that might be a support. So if we take a look at the lower time frame, that's exactly what you see here. That there's a support formed here. So what I would do is I'll first of all make this extend to the right. So there's a support that's formed here. Let's see, if we break below this support, then we'll continue to push down. Let's take a look at 30 minute. Yeah, if we're looking at 30 minute, there's minor supports all throughout, and I think we could eventually test all the way at the bottom of these ranges. Yeah, so what I would be looking for, yeah, what I would be looking for here is there's a whole move that has happened before we started our live stream. Uh, that it went down, it corrected, and then it retested the lows. That would have been your trade, where it would be breaking below the previous low, and then testing for the bottom of the range. So now what I'm looking for is just some market structure for it to either break above or break below. I do want to talk about yesterday's analysis that we did. So yesterday in yesterday August 10th, it was a Sunday, and market was just opening. This candle was barely getting started, and at that time we talked about what the analysis or what we should do, what we should look forward to in the following week that's coming up. I talked about that in the previous day, the previous week there has been higher highs that has been created. So you have one higher low, you have another higher low, you have another higher low, and then you have another higher low, and then Friday you made another higher low. But as we're going up, there has been a decrease in volume. up until Thursday when it broke above, and then Friday there was also not much volume, but it was showing that the bullish the bullish volume has been decreasing. So at that time, there could be two possibilities that we'll be looking for. Is that this candle that is happening right now, for it to either break above this previous high and go for these highs right here. So it'll be something like 200 pip range, or if it breaks below this previous low, then it can come down all the way at the bottom of these ranges eventually. And that is what's happening. So it broke below, and then it has been pushing down. And another key factor is that this broke below, marking this to be now in a downtrend. As long as it does not, something doesn't happen, and then we push above and break this high. As long as that doesn't happen, we're in a downtrend now. For that matter, let's take a look at Forex Factory, so we won't have any fundamental surprises. We'll be alert. Yeah, there's no USD news that is of impact. Yeah, there's not much news that is of impact, so we should be, it should be a smooth. Let's see. Yeah. GJ, let's do some fresh analysis. Move all three drawings. I think we're rallying up on GJ for the last whole week. Now we are at a spot where there's a lot of resistance. Let's drop down to 4-hour candle. It's just consolidating. See, when it's consolidating, there's not much that's happening, but sometimes once it's consolidating, you could trade within the range, and that is something of what we can see today, perhaps. So let's see. Right, this would be, actually, you know what? I'm gonna draw this right here, just because that is our most recent support. That's our most recent high. Okay, so for sells, we have created a support here. So break below this support would be execution of sells to continue down and fill this range of 26 pips. And yeah, let's just put it here. For buys, we would have to break above. We'd have to break above, and the next target, what we could shoot for is 14, 15 pips. There's not much range on GJ. There's really not. But if we close above, then we can possibly shoot for look for buys. But as of right now, it's within the range of what we have drawn, so there's not much movement. Let's look at Ethereum daily. So Ethereum, right now, this is the new daily candle. This is a new weekly candle. Let's say weekly close bullish, very strong bullish, but it closed with a doji, and since it's closed with the doji, even if it broke above, it didn't. This is the weekly start. It did not. The weekly didn't have a lower wick, so this candle was just green yesterday, and because it was breaking up, there were a lot of folks that entered a buy here, but at that time we waited, and because the reason why is that there was no bottom wick created. So now since the bottom wick is being created, if now it goes and breaks above this previous wick, then we can go look for buys. And I think Ethereum has the range to go all the way back up to the 48, 47, 95 area. So what I'll be looking forward to is weekly wick to be created down, and then once it's moving up, break above this previous high and continue to push up. Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is a holy grail. It does not want to come down. By the way, this is a perfect example of a downtrend. On the lower time frame, this is a perfect example of a downtrend, because I'll break it down on the 5 minute, but what I want you to see is that it goes down, creates a lower low. Let's just start from here. It creates a lower low. It creates a high, but it doesn't break the previous high. It comes down, creates a lower low. It goes up, creates a high, but it does not break the previous high. Then it comes down, creates another lower low. It does not close above the previous high. And same thing here. It creates a lower low, and here we are right now. So if we take a look at 5 minutes, then you should be able to draw some of the lines here as well. This is a smaller time frame downtrend. We have 7 minutes for the hourly to close. Let's see how it closes. Actually, I want to bring yesterday's analysis where I talked about gold. So let's see. All right. So welcome to another Ethereum, Doge, Bitcoin, what to expect in the coming weeks. So let's begin. What I want to go over first is the trade I took on Friday, and because the stream was lagging on Friday, and just couldn't figure out exactly what was the issue. So over the weekend, I was able to this is the trade breakdown. So there has to be some retracement. The daily candle. So if we take a look at daily candle here, let's see. The daily candle, the previous daily candle had a bullish engulfing from the previous red candle here. So there was more of a buyer sentiment that was for the day, I would say, right? But I know it was the close of the week, so there has to be some retracement. But overall, there is more bullish volume than it was bearish. So if we take a look at 4-hour time frame, it's consolidating. There's not much going on. There's wicks going up, closing candles, and there's wicks, coming down. So it's just consolidating. If we take a look at so at that time, I remember that it was sort of at a support
point.
Yeah, this is explaining the trade.
So this was the support that was being formed
on Friday.
This candle was what's going to happen next, taking a buy support. Red candle came down, formed what 40 pips, then hitting a higher. There is no reason able to secure the previous wick fill. So that was the trade last week. Right? We went up, we rejected, we went up, we rejected again. Now we're trying to go up, and we'll see, what's going to happen. But it's a consolidation. On the daily time frame.
Okay, so this candle was barely getting started. It was at 33.93. Where is it at right now? 33.53. That's insane. That's almost, what, 400 pips? Okay.
Let's see. On the daily time frame, what is happening is that what I showed you in the previous trade, where we moved up, we closed, respecting the previous low. So you see it's respecting the previous low. This candle, this candle, this candle, and this candle, now this candle as well. So if this is respecting the previous low, and this candle can break above the previous high, then we should be able to easily move towards 34.35. That's logically what makes sense. Now, if this candle, the current daily candle, breaks below this previous low, then we're back in this consolidation range. Could be all the way down here. So then this will be sort of like a range, and this will be the low, this will be the high. So if this candle breaks below and closes below this previous daily, then we're back in this range, and there's a very much possibility for this week's for the next few candles to come all the way down to the previous to the bottom of the support here. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect.
Simple, straightforward analysis, right? And let's see. Oh, that's so blue. Wow, what is that? Damn, that's so nice. Okay. Closing in 2 minutes. Yeah, it's rejecting the support here. You see? It's rejecting the support. 15-minute. You know what? I think based on, let's see how this closes. I want to see how this candle closes, and if we could break above this, we could possibly push towards the highs of the previous leg. But I want to see how this 15-minute closes and how this 30-minute closes. YouTube. Okay, we are closed on hourly. Let's see. Closed with almost no wick at the bottom. Closed with almost no wick. When the candle closes with no wick, that means that there is no range for the next candle to continue to go up. It's 50-50. So uh, when there's a 50-50 chance, you just stay out. Because there is a very high possibility of this candle to go up, which is exactly what it's doing right now. It goes up and then it goes back, comes back down and continues to fill the previous wick. थोड़ा जिहा म्यूजिक ਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਟੱਚ ਨੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੱਚ ਨੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੱਚ So I'll try to explain this candle with no wick again. Whenever there is a candle with no wick and it closes with full body, then there's a lot of then there's no range for the next candle. Um, and at that point, it could consolidate, or it could very much continue to fill the previous wick down. So it could push up and then continue to drop down because this candle it just ran up. It didn't come down to exhaust and then go up. So the trend it doesn't just continue to go up like this. It goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down, it goes up. And that's what a trend is. In this candle, we just went up. So there is a 50% chance that the next candle could go up a little and then retrace back for it to continue to go up. That's why it's not ideal to take the trade on a break of this previous candle. Again, it's a 50-50 chance. That's why you stay out. Damn. It's beautiful. Bleeding. Okay, we're at a resistance 4180. Let's see how Ethereum reacts. Yeah, GJ consolidating, nothing to see. If this, yeah, if so, what we're gonna do is since it's closing bullish and it has created the lower wick at the break of this high, so at the break of this previous candle, yeah, if it breaks above, then we're gonna enter into a buy. What's the stop loss? Stop loss is about 20 pips. The trade has not been executed right now. What I'm waiting for is for the candle to break above the previous candle's high. That will be your confirmation that it should go for higher high, and that move is what we want to capture. Let's see. And the stop loss would be the previous wick, the low of the current candle, which, let's see, so the 15-minute low. Once the trade activates, there is no reason why it should continue to break its own low. Because if we have broken above the high, right, that means that the candles, they want to go up. The price wants to go up. But then if it continues to break its previous low, that means that the idea for the price to go up is invalidated. At this point, we are in the trade. Yeah, even if this candle closes just right here like this, the next candle should be your push. Next candle should break above the current highs. But this candle needs to close bullish, because if it does not, then, or if it closes, back in the range, that just means that there is not much volume. The volume for bulls is dying, and then I won't be too confident in this trade. We're 4 or 5 pips. Let's say, yeah, about 15, 20 pips. That would be your ideal break even, and then take 90% off the off the table. candle closed exactly the way this candle did. I'm gonna go get some water. Oh. Oh, jeez. Okay, so this idea is invalidated. Let's study what happened, right? Let's see. So, as I was explaining earlier, when there is not much, when a candle closes with no wick, that means that there is not enough range for the next candle to continue to push up. So what it does is that it goes up, and I've seen that a lot of times. It goes up. In fact, at this time, I've seen this happen so many times where I will enter a short position right here because it's gonna continue to fill the lower it's going to continue to fill its wick here. So I'll go for these lows and we'll have the stop loss above the previous high. So what happens is that the previous candle does not have any wick. That means that it just went up, it didn't come down. And the next candle went up a little and now it's, it's making a low, and I've seen that happen so many times where this current candle and the next candle ends up filling the wick all the way. So that is what I'm looking for in this trade. What's GJ doing? Okay, so we're getting ready to break below on GJ. Yeah. Yeah, even on 30 minutes, it's the same thing where the candle didn't close with the range. So the next candle went up, made a high, and then now it's coming down to fill this wick. What is Doge USD doing? $22.91. Let's see. We've got 15 minutes till the candle closes. Actually, 11 minutes and 50 cents. 11 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it has retraced and now it's dropping, but damn, what is what's happening on the 5 minute? So it broke below the previous low. Okay, so let's see. We've gone down 10 pips right now. Yeah, right now we're at 10 pips. So at this point, what I will do is, because the current candle has formed a higher wick and now it has broken below its own low, my trade stop loss is going to be the current wick's high. It should not continue to break its own low at this point. And what do we have? Do we have about 20 pips? We have 21 pips, and I will make this what's it called? I'll make this stop loss free. Yeah, stop. So 20 pips, we could secured 90% of the position, and here we're out, exited the trade. That was a clean, sweet execution of 20 pips. Made the trade risk free. That's the word I'm looking for. Risk free trade. Let's see. Okay, GJ, it's dropping. Yeah. So in GJ, same thing. As long as we close below this now 198.516, we should continue to push down. Yeah, we're getting close to the New York Open. That's why it's very snappy. Jeez. So I think when I'm actually trading and executing these trades, I will show how quick the execution needs to be, because it snapped down here and then it continued to go up. And if you are not quick enough to exit out of the trade or make your trade risk free, then you would be getting caught in a loss where your trades were actually in the profits before. That's why my style of trading, it enhances the profits if you're actually able to take 10 to 20 pips and make the stop loss break even. Eating almonds. What is going on? What's going on? You know what? If it keeps pushing down, I can make an Instagram story out of this. Actually, I can do it now because I think yeah. Let me stop eating almonds and make this story. That was the original. Okay. Okay, so at this point, my stop loss is going to be break even, and we should actually just close this whole trade. This is it. It filled, and it's coming down to the support area. So we've got what 33 pips out of this. That was that was the whole trade. We break even, and we should actually just close this whole trade. This is it. It filled, and it's coming down to the support area. So we've got what 33 pips out of this. That was Damn. That was the gold is dropping. Okay, so at this point, my stop loss is going to be break even, and we should actually just close this whole trade. This is it. It filled, and it's coming down to the support area. So we've got what 33 pips out of this. That was the whole trade. Okay, so at this point, my stop loss is going to be break even, and we should actually just close this whole trade. This is it. It filled, and it's coming down to the support area. So we've got what 33 pips out of this. That was the whole trade. Okay, so at this point, my stop loss. Okay, let's see. I think we. So we've got 20 pips here. Um, where's the 5 minute, right? I think, yeah. If we bought here, this bought here, and then the low was 20 pips. So just kind of break even for the day. Take one more trade. So if I sell here, I know there's so much volume. It's gonna continue to go down. It's gonna test these lows, but I can't because if it pushes up, then you're screwed. If it pushes up, then you're screwed. But there's so much volume. I'm pretty sure it's gonna continue down. On the other hand, yeah, for GJ, I think if we wick up and then break its own low, then we could continue to push down on GJ. GJ looks very, very ideal. So what I would do is have a short position ready to execute right here. At the break of its current candle, then continue to push down, and I think we should be able to fill all of this range on the left hand side. Based on how high of a wick it creates, that will be the stop loss for the current candle. That will be the stop loss for the current trade. See, this is textbook. I just said it. Because of there's so much volume, it should continue to push down. But we can't take this trade because where is the stop loss going to be? The stop loss was going to be what, 80, 85 pips? That's just not going to happen. GJ. Okay. So GJ, the trade idea has been executed where it broke below the previous low of its own candle, and now it should continue to push down. Even if it wicks up a little bit more, I think we should be anticipating the the current stops to be about 15 pips. So I'll give it a little bit of range because even if it wants to continue to push up, it should not break its previous high. Perfection. Went down to the support. And you know what? On the daily, we did come down all the way. We did come down all the way at the bottom of this range. The analysis yesterday that was done for what's to come in the upcoming week was on point. We talked about there were higher lows that were being created, but there is lower volume. So the bullish volume was continued to decline as comparing to this big move. So the next week's candle either could break above this previous day's high and continue to push up, or if it breaks below the previous day's low, then it should continue to test the lower lows at the bottom of these ranges, and that is exactly what we see here. Just to show yesterday's analysis, let me bring this out again.
If we go, let's go 4 hour time frame. Yeah, like a range, and this will be the low, this will be the high. Then we should be able to.
Okay.
On the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, what is happening is that what I showed you in the previous trade, where we moved up, we closed, respecting the previous low. So you see, it's respecting the previous low. This candle, this candle, this candle, and this candle, now this candle as well. So if this is respecting the previous low, and this candle can break above the previous high, then we should be able to easily move towards 34.35. That's logically what makes sense. Now, if this candle, the current daily candle, breaks below this previous low, then we're back in this consolidation range that could be all the way down here. So then this will be sort of like a range, and this will be the low, this will be the high. So if this candle breaks below and closes below this previous daily, then we're back in this range, and there's a very much possibility for this week's, for the next few candles to come all the way down to the previous, to the bottom of the support here.
Okay, so at this time, gold was just starting the candle. and this is where we are. We have filled the wick. We have gone to the bottom of the ranges. GJ trade idea is being executed perfectly. This live stream has been filled with great ideas. I think we learned on the first trade that your instincts are right, and the second trade and this third trade idea, perfection. And I'm anticipating for this for GJ to fill and continue to fill this range all the way down to 198, 250, 240. See, GJ doesn't move like gold. We're only at 7 pips, whereas gold has gone down 100 and came up 2. That's insane. Bang bang. Okay, a 4 hour. This is the lowest it's supposed to go because that's the low of the range, and look how quickly it retraced back up. We have retraced back 82 pips in the last, I believe, 5 or so minutes. Yeah, that's a very strong area. But yesterday's analysis played out to the T. I think even for Ethereum and um, crypto, I talked about that. I talked about that once it creates a lower wick, and then it starts to break above the previous high. At that time, you should be anticipating for the price to continue to move up. But uh, until then, I'm just in the sideline. I'm just viewing it. Bitcoin, stable, DJ. That gold trade was a good trade on Instagram too. Caught it live. This was the this was the pre, and then let's see. This is the post. Nine 9 peeps. 4 hour. How are we looking? Yeah, 4 hour. We're we're rejecting this area. But previously we have wick down. We've gone up. We have wick down. We've gone up. And this is the third time. Usually, whenever you're trying to break a structure, it tries to go up and then forms a resistance and then gets pushed back down. Then it tries again and then it gets rejected again. And then if it gets rejected the second time and it tries the third time, there is over 80% chance that third time could be a possible break. So in this scenario, this is the third time that we're trying to break below a certain price zone, and I'm anticipating the price to continue to push down. We're at 10 pips. We're at 10 pips, boy. We're at 10 pips. I will make this trade risk-free. There is no more risk involved in this trade. Your trade is break even. And let's see, we're at 13 pips. I'm going to continue to let this roll because we're one trade. Uh, at least we get to these areas right here, like 15, about 15 to 18, 15 to 20 pips. That would be ideal. Then I'll think about closing. Okay, it's about time for me to leave as well, so I might just take this 12 pips and leave. Gold, let's see what gold's doing. Yeah, I'm done on the day for gold. It's now just gonna consolidate. You see, it's on a downtrend, but this push here, that's what gold needed in order for us to see that there is a zone that gold is rejecting now, which it's this one. So I'm gonna take this out. This zone right here. Alright, so we're at 12 pip. Uh, Usually there's about 2 pips spread as well, so we're really at 10 pips. Mm. By the way, what's a spread? Spread is really just a price that you pay between the broker and the markets. So that the price, in order to come to you, it could have its latency, and that's what spread is. Yeah. So what's spread? Spread is basically the price that it's a bid price and selling price. So it's a price between the broker and the real time. What you know, so whatever you get from the broker, um, that is the difference between the selling and the bidding price is called spread. Usually, brokers, they vary in spreads. There sometimes there could be high spread broker depending on the account. If you have a normal account, if you have a pro account, there could be a lower spread there. Um, so it just depends on broker to broker, but typically GBP JPY has about two pip spread, and it also depends on the volume on the market. So if it's New York session, sometimes there is news, and at that time the spread might be higher. Come on, flip, please flip, flippity flop. All right, I'm gonna go and be right back. Okay, yeah, it's not moving much. I'll be right back. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Ethereum here, there's a support here, so let's just see how the price reacts. If we could possibly break below, we could there's a very high probability for us to go back into the 4,000s. Mm, GJ, where are we, GJ? Yeah, 4 hour is closing. There's a higher chance of retracing. One hour. See, I know it's going to. There's a very high chance for it to continue to push down and test the lower ranges here, but I also have to go, so I'm gonna consider closing this here in the next 5 minutes. Plus, we have what? Well, I was gonna say 12 pips, but it just flipped up, so about 10. Let's see. If the next candle, let's say if this 15-minute closes the way it is, the next candle breaks below the previous low, then we can continue to push down. Get low, get low. To the window, to the wall. I want to have something in the background where there's hmm, there is a like background noise, background sound, unsolicited sound. Okay. All right, so we're continuing to push down. We're at about 14, 15 pips. Yeah. I'd like to see how this 15-minute closes. Based on that, I will complete the trade. Two, gold. Yeah, we're just consolidating. This would have been a good buy opportunity, but then you have your stop loss now. It's too big of a stop. This is the so-called worst part of trading, is that you just have to wait. You have to wait, and wait. And once the trade comes in, sometimes you still have to wait. So that's why a lot of people, they like to trade on pairs like gold or something that moves a little bit more volatile, where you don't have to sit and wait for the you don't have to sit and wait for hours to get a trade. So I will actually close this trade right here. This will be the close of this trade where we're at 15 pips. Yeah, I think, yeah, about 15 pips. And that will be the end of the day. I'm gonna call it here. I do think that if the price continues to break below the previous low, then I should continue to push the low of these ranges. But I have to hop, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.